Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News. This past weekend was Easter, but it was also Coachella Fest, which is an event in the desert here in Southern California. You've probably heard of it. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, I don't know, of people come out there to go check out the hottest artist. But anyway, that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is a lot of Bachelor contestants went to Coachella. It's become kind of like an influencer who's who. But along with Coachella, there's been all these other festivals that have spawned up near that. One of which is Revolve Fest. Revolve, you know, this fashion company. They basically gift clothes to a lot of influencers, and then they'll post about them, and they'll make, you know, pretend like life's amazing. Well, it was a disaster. So some of our Bachelor contestant friends have gone to it, and I'm going to share some of the different TikToks of people saying it's like the next version of Fyre Fest. Now, as we know, Fyre Fest was a festival that was supposed to take place, I guess, on a private island in the Bahamas, and it turned into chaos, and no one could get fed, and no one could get... It was a real disaster. So yesterday, or this weekend, for hours, people were waiting in the hot sun for shuttles to take them to this festival that never was. The festival did happen. People just couldn't get to it. So we'll get into all of it. We've got some images here of Bachelor alumni that did make it to Coachella. Kit Keenan, there she is, and of course, you know, outfits. You got to have multiple outfits. You got to be doing your thing. Bree Springs is there. Victoria Fuller with one of her outfits. Small YouTuber Nick Vial with his girlfriend there. Her outfit looks like is that the Texas Longhorns logo crocheted? Anyway, and by the way, Nick looks like he's got porn star shirt happening. Hey, that's the style you got to go for. You got to go for that. Hannah Godwin was there. There's another photo of Hannah Godwin doing a very unnatural butt kick right there, whatever that is. And of course, you know, more people. It's just kind of nonstop. You know, in front of the carousel, just all the picture. Katie Thurston there with a nice sequin number, you know, and of course Amanda Stanton and Kelly Flanagan. So they're all there. Okay, that, like I said, that's not the point. So here's Victoria Fuller going to Revolve Festival. Now I'm sure for a lot of these influencers, they get shuttled into Revolve Fest. The festival at the Revolve Fest is really just a photo op. You know, they go there and you get to go into the festival either for free or pay $2,000 depending on your following size. And then you have deliverables you owe them, like a certain amount of Instagram stories. You know, it's all about promotion, right, folks? So here are some of the tweets that were received. Wow, the Revolve Festival at Coachella was the most unorganized event I've ever gone to. They had people waiting outside in the heat with no water. There was no data to even call an Uber to leave. I was sitting in line for 3 hours. There's so much more. OMG. And then and then this is the tweet that started all. Joseph reported on breaking news here. Breaking! Sources on the ground telling us there is apparently drama going down at Revolve Festival that sinks to levels of Fyre Fest. Influencers stranded in the dirt with no water under the hot sun for hours, waiting for buses that aren't coming to bring them to the actual festival. Alleged fights, screaming, everyone is dizzy. Well, that's just because of all of the, you know, hair products they sprayed in their hair. You combine that with a little bit of Molly, you can't even stand up straight. And in an only in LA moment Coachella edition, security had crowds of influencers yelling how important they were and why they deserved the first seat. This is like the new version of the Titanic. Women and children first. Verified people first. Sources spoke to security on the ground about the chaos, and one of the guards said, "I don't know who the F these people are. I don't know who is actually important and who is lying, or if any of them are important. More to come." I don't. So, who's important? Who knows, folks? We're not important. We're just over here doing the Lord's work, and that's not important. I don't know what is. I think I could get it right. Hello, it's Dave Neal, Power Recap, or please let me in here. They're like, oh my gosh, is that Barrel Scraping Dave?
Barrel Scraping Dave.
It certainly is. And then there we are. So here are some of the TikToks from the event. I'll play like I think about 5 of these. Let's see if we can get these to play here.
Really?
Revolve times Fyre Fest. Just people waiting. Please choose me, sir. Oh my gosh. They're literally in a desert, no cell service, no lines, just mobs of people going back and forth. These poor bus drivers. Seriously. Everyone's dressed in their cute outfits. And the funny part about this is you never want bad PR, but everyone that got stiffed here is an influencer with a following. So clearly people are going to be talking about it. Let's listen to this influencer talk about her experience. See if we can get this to play. Let's see if we get 1 second here. The reply says, I'm a little confused. Can you elaborate a little more on the deets? So sorry this happened. So this is an influencer whose previous tweet.
I think I worded things poorly. I was just heated and exhausted from standing in line for hours and just pissed off at the whole thing. I think a lot of people are misunderstanding what I meant when I said like randos. I'm not like entitled at all. If you follow me, you know I don't do these things like anything like this. I literally just talk about my anxiety and poop and grief and literally all genres. The reason I was saying randos was it's because it was the people that were acting this way that I was like, who the fuck are they? I did see a few people that I recognize in line from social media, and those people were all literally acting normal, waiting in line. Most of them ended up leaving. I just meant the people that I personally didn't know who they were the ones that were like shoving and acting like psychos.
Acting a fool.
So I guess just as an influencer being told I was invited to an influencer event for VIP experience, seeing these people do this, I was just like, what the hell is going on?
Well, it's like Lord of the Flies, right? It's like you're all influencers, except if everyone's got a following and they're all in the same area, then what's the hierarchy of that following? It's like, oh, I've got 1 million followers. I got 2 million. Who the hell cares? Now listen, I've been to some of these events before. It is brutal. Here's what happens. You meet somebody, they go, what's your name? Here, let me friend you on Instagram. And then what people are actually doing is then they're going to find you on Instagram to see how big your following is, to see if it's worth talking to you. Oh my gosh, this exists. I see it all the time. As a comic, I make fun of this stuff, but it is really funny that people's value is weighed so heavily on how many followers they have. And by all means, I talk about it too. Subscribe to the show, but of course, I could care too. I could care less about the subscriber level, but I am, pursuing world domination on a niche level here. And when you do that, you need to plug the channel. So here's, we don't need to play that one here. Here's another angle of how the weight went down. Looks like
So the Revolve Festival is an invite-only party that's going on the same weekend as Coachella. And the only way you can get to Revolve Festival is if you take their specific shuttles to their grounds. I didn't even get into the festival, guys. I waited in line for 2 hours.
Aww.
We're bailing on Revolve because the transportation and it was Fire Festival 2.0. The logistics of getting to the festival were dangerous.
There was pushing, shoving, shouting, yanking people in front of the buses, people standing in between the buses, like, while they were moving, just to get on these buses and get to the Revolve Festival. Big yikes. Sorry, Revolve, but I really hope you take into consideration everyone's safety and security next year. The one great thing I got out of waiting for 2 hours in line was the fact that I got to meet Kate, our TikTok queen. I hope you got on a bus, Kate.
Yikes. Now, I was supposed to go on a Revolve event in March 2020 to go on a maiden voyage for the Virgin Cruise Line. Of course, that was canceled because of COVID. And they actually treated us just fine. I think they did give us a full refund. Here's another. And at least they had a tent, so they weren't in the hot sun. So there they are. Okay, 2 more videos.
There are a lot of pissed off influencers on my For You page that keep comparing the Revolve Festival to Fyre Fest. So let's actually compare and rate both events. Fyre Fest was in another country and it was really hard to get to, so 10 out of 10 sucks. The Revolve Festival was just in SoCal, so like 2 out of 10 sucks. People paid like tens of thousands of dollars for Fyre Fest for nothing, so 10 out of 10 sucks. Revolve Festival, you either got in for free or you paid $2,000 for
2 out of 10 sucks.
get in. That's like 8 out of 10. Fyre Fest was an actual scam. 10 out of 10 sucks.
Well, Fyre Fest.
The Revolve Festival was super unorthodox.
I'm not here to defend the Fyre Fest, but Fyre Fest wasn't a scam in the sense that they weren't trying to rip people off. They just couldn't pull it off. I don't know if that counts as a scam. I've always said this about Fyre Fest. Now, don't get me wrong. Maybe they should have canceled it. But if you've ever thrown an event, everything fails until the event, and then you just pull it off. So they were banking on the chance that they'd be able to pull this event off. If they had pulled Fyre Fest off, maybe that would be the new hot thing everyone does every year in the Bahamas. We don't know. But either way, it was a colossal failure. And both Fyre Fest documentaries, one on Netflix and one on Hulu, are definitely worth watching. Now, the question becomes, why do we love when we see influencers struggle? Why do we love it so much? Is it because they're out of touch or they're, needy or narcissistic? It's really hard to tell. I will say with Revolve Fest, look, there's no such thing as a free lunch, right? So you get what you pay for. And it was a free event, and clearly it was all just one giant photo op for the people that got in. And for everyone else, it was just like, if you couldn't make it, you couldn't make it. They clearly didn't plan appropriately. Now, this is a video of the food that they served when you're basically the only food at Revolve Fest. And
when you're basically the only food
it's just
at
a couple
Revolve
slices
Fest.
of pizza. Oh, it's funny. You know, you got some parts of the world that are just like, you know, we got World War III breaking out. We got refugee camps. We got food crisis and bad water. And here we are being like, we didn't get into the festival in time. I get it. It sucks, but it's just so funny. Put it into perspective, folks. Let me know what you guys think. I've got a Patreon episode happening right now, so get on Patreon for behind-the-scenes live stream. I'm going to be talking about wedding planning that, you know, we got going on. Hopefully my wedding goes off better than Revolve Fest. All right, folks. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Bye, everybody.